You open people's mind, more opportunities come out and more productivity comes out. So that's really good. Yeah. What you said?
Myself, my friend, have experience, corporate experience of 10 years. And in the 3 years, the things that I started were event management. After that, outdoor catering. Then I started web services business. And currently have some 10-12 websites. Some having good amount of traffic, approximately 10,000 unique visits per day, new visits per day. And in next 6 months, we are planning to have a startup incubator or accelerator in this part of country. So we are making a team or network of VCs, mentors, and all kind of thing before pushing the founders. So,
yeah, that's very good.
It's really critical that because the country is in a growth phase right now.
Enter a corporate world, that too in IT sector, and then down the line I want to be an entrepreneur.
Now a lot of IT companies are also coming to Chandigarh.
Management graduate, doing MBA from Amity Global Business School, and then I'm looking forward for setting up my own manufacturing unit.
What area are you thinking about?
I have a couple of plants. One of them is a seed plant, and then one of them is a sauces for institutional purposes.
Great. So just hang on a second, let me just ask.
Yeah, sure.
Would like to
I done my graduation in commerce and now I'm doing in finance and marketing my MBA and I'll join my dad's business. My dad's business is stone crushing. We have a stone crushing in Yamuna.
My name is Pankaj. I did my graduation in commerce and my specialization in MBA is finance and marketing. After my MBA, I would like to join financial sector corporate.
MBA in pharmaceuticals only.
With Amity, we don't have that option right now.
Didn't you apply for other colleges? Narsingh is very good.
Yeah, I did. I had that UIMS option, but somehow, I preferred Amity over that, so that's why. It's marketing and IB, I have it. So since the background is there already, so I guess.
My name is Ibni. I've done my economic honors from MCM and now I'm doing HR and marketing from Amity. And down the line I would like to work in an HR as a HR.
Hi everybody, my name is Laika. I'm doing currently my second year of MBA and MBA marketing in IB. And currently I want to work in the corporate sector and then let's see, maybe down the line start my own unit or something.
Good evening everybody, myself Tushant and I have done my graduation in commerce and currently pursuing with MBA in international business and marketing. So at the end I want to be an entrepreneur. So firstly I just want to enter in marketing sector first, then pursue with entrepreneurship and I want to do it. I want to enter in the export line.
That's good. That's good. So many entrepreneurs coming up. My best wishes are with everyone. I mean, I've gone through the tough stages and everything, so I can understand that.
It's a lot of going through disappointments and still standing through. Just
Still, at times we have to face certain things that those are not in our hands and we can't do anything with it. But we have to do more.
In fact, I was sharing in our culture, like failure has a very negative connotation. I think that has to change.
Exactly.
That at least the person has tried. So even though he's failed, he's tried. Give him another chance, and maybe you need to fail maybe 10 times to succeed the 11th time or 12th time or whatever.
I was attending a Thai conference in Delhi, in fact, last week, and there was this topic that if we start up our own venture or entrepreneurship and we fail, then what about getting a job that we failed for 2 years? Now we are applying for a job. The interviewer will ask that you are a failure, we won't hire you. Whereas you will be preferred over a guy who has not tried an entrepreneurship because you've taken the initiative to do something in your life.
True.
That gut to take the initiative is a lot. Trust me, I've quit a job where I was getting almost a salary of 10 lakh rupees a year, and then I started up my own venture. I know how it feels when at the end of the month you're not getting the paycheck and in fact you have to generate the paychecks for your employees. It's not that easy a job. So.
Yeah, well, I'm selling in the same boat. My name is Trupt Paul and I have 13 years of experience in the IT industry. Okay, I've spent several years abroad working for multinational companies and I started my own venture there in US itself, and we're doing some outsourcing here in Chandigarh also and in Delhi as well. But apart from that was the software development angle there. Apart from that, I'm venturing into the training aspect of it as well.
Very good evening, all of you. Thank you for your patience and thank you for sparing time coming over here. We have Sameer Jain on the extreme right, CEO Net Solutions India, a very active Thai charter member, and Harshveer Singh, Secretary, is a very innovative entrepreneur. He's done excellent job in the past times and also is heading for an award at the White House, if I'm not wrong. Sameer will highlight. So request Harshveer to moderate the session. We'll be talking on building up successful teams as a part of our Thai Startup Week, and we look forward to an interactive session afterwards. And your doubts and queries, you can bounce on your questions with them. So, over to Harshveer, please.
Who's the moderator? I thought I was the moderator. Is building a successful team, and before we actually get started, I'd love to understand who the audience is, so I think we can actually kind of run this session accordingly. So how many of you are budding entrepreneurs? Building teams. So just to put the context, this is the Thai Startup Week, and we're talking about startups and entrepreneurship. We talked about finance and we talked about various things. I think one of the most important things is actually building a team. And I remember I was at, we were actually exhibiting at a place in the US, and there were, so it had these VC sort of sessions as well. And the guys who were CEOs who were presenting, they had to come and show their team members, so that's how, so the idea didn't really matter. What mattered was who was with you and, what is it that these guys do and what sort of a team this is. So it's becoming increasingly important for anyone to have a team that can deliver even bigger than the idea itself. And I think that's the context of conversation today. How do you build those teams? Sean Devlin, as Sameer said, he's an entrepreneur. He's the designations. So he's not the CEO, but he's the product guy, and he's also the COO, I think, right? Let me read that. So he's built this product called Front Rush. He's based out of New Jersey, and so he's the co-founder. And Front Rush provides web-based and mobile applications to over 3,000 colleges. And I've looked at their roster. They have phenomenal clients. You name a university, they're their clients. And as Sameer said, he's actually due for an award tomorrow at the White House, but he's here. He's been voted, and he was pretty modest about it, that he just got a few votes on Facebook. But so he's incredibly successful, and he actually speaks at a lot of entrepreneurship related events in the US. Harshveer is a well-known figure. He's the MD of Vision for Tech. So while Sean's a services company, Sean's a product company, Harshveer is a services company, and they build mobile applications and focus on mainly the outsourcing area. So I think there's the team that we have here, the couple of guys that are on the panel today. They make a great sort of panel in that one is a services guy, the other is a product guy. One's from the US, and he can speak about the US angle, and the other's from India. So hopefully we'll make this a very interesting session. So one of you guys could start and possibly talk about, what are the important things to do while building a team. You could talk from an India perspective, services perspective. Sean, you could talk about US perspective. And hopefully one of you can also speak about the international perspective. How do you build a team across continents, like Sean, possibly you've done here, and Harshveer, you could talk as well. So Sean, do you want to start first?
Sure. Hi, my name's Sean Devlin. Like Sameer said, I'm from the US, a state called New Jersey. And co-founded a company back in 2006, and like Sameer said, it's a sports company, so we provide software in the sports world. And what's interesting is we're a very small company. We've been around for a while and we do well, but there's only 13 of us. So from a team building perspective, every single member of our team is really, really important. Whereas in companies that maybe have a couple hundred or a couple thousand or many thousand employees, where certain employees can hide behind other employees and not give it their all, every single one of our employees counts. And so we know exactly what they're doing, when they're doing it, and how well they're doing it. And that comes down to hiring. So we know when we hire someone, that we have to hire the best talent possible to fill that position. Because if they don't carry their weight, it's going to be 1/13 of the company not carrying their weight, and that's certainly going to pull us down. And it's going to have negative impact. So how do you hire the right people? Which is the first step in building a good team. Well, what's interesting is there's one thing we found, that from the beginning when we were a startup and there was just 2 of us, to now when there's 13 of us, one universal theme we found is being a good storyteller and having a really good story to tell. What do I mean by that? Well, you can offer a really competitive salary, or maybe you've got really good benefits. Maybe you offer 2 weeks vacation, or 3 weeks, or a month. Well, there's going to be another company out there just like yours who can attract the same talent or better talent because what? They're going to offer the same salary 2x, right? Or they're going to give 5 weeks of vacation, or they're going to offer that much better of a benefit. So that alone isn't enough to attract good talent. That's a perk that you need to have to keep talent, but that alone isn't going to attract the talent. So what we found is we need to be good storytellers. So let me give you an example. So recently we need to hire a couple customer support people. These are people who are going to answer the phone and talk to people on the other end and walk them through, here you got to do this with your computer, or you got to go Google this, or whatever the case may be. But this is really key element to our business because they're the people who are forward facing and speaking with our clients. So we needed to get really good talent. Well, we couldn't go out and pay someone an insane exorbitant amount of money to be a customer support representative. Not in the US, it doesn't work that way. But we needed good talent. We needed top level talent, people who could speak intelligently, could relate well with our customers. And the end result is we ended up getting a guy who's studying to be a doctor in psychology and someone who's studying to be a lawyer. How do we get this talent? Well, it turns out that both these guys are really into the sports world, right? And in sports in the US, these sports figures are celebrities. So what was the story we told them? We said, listen, the people that you're going to be talking to on the phone and emailing back and forth with every day, these are going to be the people that you're going to go home at night and watch on television. So when you go out to the bar and you hang out with your buddies, or you go out to dinner with your family, and on television this professional athlete, this coach, or this sports figure shows up, you can say, hey, I spoke with that guy. I helped that guy out today, or I helped that woman out today. And that's a really good story that they can tell. So this is the story we told them. And this is how we sold them to be in our particular role. A similar scenario is with sales. We just hired a salesperson. And she was an ex-coach herself, an ex-sports figure, who had moved on into the real estate industry and was quite successful there. But she had this knack, this urge to get back into the sports world. So what was our story? What did we tell her? We said, look, here's an opportunity for you to get back into the sports world, to interact with the type of people that you feel comfortable interacting with, to get back into the game that you played for so many years. And that was the story we told her. So the point being that we don't offer the most competitive salaries. We try our best, but they're not the most competitive. Each one of these individuals could have certainly gone out and got a better job financially somewhere else. But on a day-to-day, they've got a great story to tell themselves. And the other thing is, once you tell the story, you have to stand by it. You have to stick to it. You have to have integrity. You can't tell a really good story, get that person in there, and none of it's true, right? Like, it's like sweeping the carpet out from underneath of them. They're going to be depressed, they're going to start slacking off, and then they're going to leave. Because retention certainly is the other big part of building a good team. So once you get them in the door through your good story, make sure your story is true. Make sure you can back it up, and make sure it continues. You want to have an ethos as a company, and you want to have a common story, but then you can sort of tailor it and tweak it to each individual. If you're an auto dealership, maybe you sold to a celebrity. Tell that story, that salesperson in that auto dealership, maybe they can sell to a celebrity. How cool is that? That's a perk, that's an inherent perk in the job that money can't buy, right? It's beyond a good salary. So that's the one thing that we found has been effective from the day that we began the company, and there was only 2 of us, to when we hired today. We're constantly selling. It's not about putting an ad out there and having people just reply to it. It's about trying to sell those candidates, because if that candidate doesn't work out, well, maybe they go tell their friend, and a story is much easier to tell than to describe a position. So that would be the number one thing that we found to date as far as hiring good talent and building a good team.
Thanks. Arfi.
Let me share my story as to how I learned the hard way. I was a manager already when, together with some of the other founders of the company, this company was formed. So the transition from being a manager to a leader or the top guy, to my mind, was okay. I mean, let's do the task well. So the manager thing never left my mind actually. And what was it about? If there's a project or there's something, you have your team who's going to do the project. You set the goal. Whosoever is going to do what, you fix the responsibilities, and you follow up. And on whether it's a daily or a weekly, email or meeting again, and be rough on people who lag behind, and probably not reward or recognize those people who've done well so much. So this manager thing stuck, and as the company grew, I realized that I was doing this more often. And I also realized that the project leader or team leader of each of those teams would be happy by my doing this, because I was doing his task rather than he helping me. He would quietly inform me well in time that this guy is not doing well, or this guy is doing well, or what happened. And since I would be chairing the meeting, I would be doing actually his task. So then this realization dawned on me that probably I am not delegating as much. I'm not allowing my project leaders or team coordinators to decide, to do decision making themselves. And then it struck me that I need to have not team leaders or probably the project coordinators alone. I need to have managers in their place to ensure that I am little free. When I use this word, I am little free, I came back to this statement a few years later. But at that point of time, I realized that I need to upgrade my team leaders. They need to have project management skills. And when they need to deal with their guys on day-to-day basis, they need to be a little of HR managers themselves. Now, things would be, haywire many times in a week, and there would be a lot of firefighting. You end up realizing that to have fruitful decision making by my team leaders, I need to strengthen them by making proper systems. So over the years, the realization that systems need to be reinforced became, paramount important. Also, I realized that I need not decide on anything by thinking that what is it? Shall I be a little free? I need to decide that it's not good for me. What I have to do has to be good for the organization. And at that time, I realized personally that was my transition time when I was beginning to get this manager out of my mind and think more like leader, as the topic is, to ensure that my team leaders are good managers, my team leaders are project managers, my team leaders are HR managers. They are supported by systems in the organization. 3-4 years back, we've been getting calls left, right, center, but 3-4 years back when some sensible guy approached me as a consultant for ISO, I realized this is the guy. On his hand, I can make my systems work. He said, sir, do you want the ISO certification or do you want the systems? I said, I need both, but I want the systems. Probably he said, you are one of the few clients I have who've taken 6 months to get the ISO certification, because we made sure that each and every process, standard and system of our organization was documented, refined, remodeled to work as it should work to help my teams and clients. The third stage came when I realized that still, things were being probably sometimes things would go haywire and people would still come to me for some small little things. Then I realized that, supposing I'm not there, which you have to be if you need to be near your client, traveling and all that, what is it that will take for them to decide as the top man? Somewhere I had read the rule of 1, 3, 9. For every top position, you should have 3 people who can replace you, and then for all of these, there should be 3 other people. Then came the idea that I was always, looking around since I was a teenager, top 10 music labels, top 10 books, top 10 fiction. So I made my top 10 list. About 4 or 5 years back, I made my top 10 list. And I also made my last 10 list. And I would revisit that every 6 months. And I realized that my maximum turnover would be coincidentally from my last 10 list, 50%. And top 10, not more than 10%. Then I made a next 10. Why I made it, and I realized that I need to concentrate on them most of the time if I need to have teams around them working